Welcome to the Cenario Podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
Hey everybody, and welcome to our deep dive on major depressive disorder. I think it's safe to say most people have heard of depression or MDD, but it's one of those things that can be tough to really grasp.
Yeah.
What it actually is and how it impacts people. So we're going to try to untangle that today using some really interesting source material. And just to give you a sense of how widespread this is, one of the things that really struck me is that it says 1 in 6 people will experience depression at some point. That's a lot.
It is a lot, and it really highlights why it's so important to understand what MDD actually is. Because, we throw around the word depression pretty casually sometimes, but it's different from just feeling down or sad. It's way more intense, more persistent, and it really can interfere with your ability to function in daily life.
So it's not like just having the Mondays.
No, not at all. Imagine losing interest in everything you used to enjoy. Your hobbies. Spending time with friends, even things that used to light you up. That's a hallmark of MDD. It's called anhedonia.
Anhedonia?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd never even heard of that. So on top of feeling super down, you also lose the ability to feel pleasure.
Exactly. And it can be accompanied by all sorts of other symptoms too, like feeling worthless, having trouble concentrating, your sleep's all messed up, your appetite changes drastically.
Wow, so this is really like a full body experience. It impacts your thoughts, your emotions, your behavior, even your physical well-being.
Right.
Okay, so we're getting a clearer picture of what MDD is, but what causes it in the first place?
Well, that's where things get really tasting, because there's no single answer. The source material emphasizes that it's a combination of factors, kind of like a tangled web. You've got genetics, brain chemistry, hormones, life experiences, even medical conditions and substance use can play a role.
Okay, so it's not as simple as just a chemical imbalance in the brain, like we often hear.
Right. It's way more nuanced than that. Yes, your brain does have these chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, like serotonin and dopamine, which help regulate mood. But it's not just about the levels of these chemicals. It's also about how sensitive your brain is to them, how efficiently they're being transported, and a bunch of other factors that we're still figuring out.
So like a whole symphony of interactions going on.
Right.
And what about genetics? Does that mean if your mom or dad had depression, you're automatically going to have it too?
Not necessarily, but your risk definitely goes up. There's a gene called SLC6A4 that's been linked to MDD, and it's involved in how serotonin is transported in the brain. So variations in this gene can influence your vulnerability.
Wow. So it's not just a vague, it runs in the family kind of thing. There's actual scientific evidence to back that up. Okay, what about hormones?
Hormones play a role too. Think about those times in life when your hormones are fluctuating a lot, like during pregnancy or menopause. Those shifts can trigger or worsen depression.
That makes sense. So those are some major hormone changes the body goes through. What about stress and trauma? I imagine those have an impact as well.
Absolutely. Chronic stress can really wear down your resilience and make you more susceptible to depression. Think about like a super stressful job or ongoing financial worries. Those kinds of things can take a toll. And then there's trauma, especially during childhood. The source material talks about something called adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, which include things like abuse, neglect. Those have been strongly linked to MDD later in life.
So even if those experiences happened a long time ago, they can still have a lasting impact on your mental health.
Right. It's not just about what's happening in your life right now. It's also about the accumulation of experiences over time.
It's like your past is still very much present in a way.
Yes, exactly.
And there's physical health.
Right. We can't forget about that. Chronic pain, for example, can really drag you down mentally. Imagine dealing with constant pain day in and day out. It's exhausting and makes it hard to find joy in anything.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a huge burden to carry.
It is. And then there's substance use. Alcohol, drugs, even some prescription meds can contribute to or worsen depression. It's like a vicious cycle. Right. You might use these substances to cope with difficult emotions, but they end up making things worse in the long run.
So it's not just one thing. It's this whole complex web of interconnected factors.
Exactly.
It's a lot to untangle.
Right.
But the good news is that we are making progress in understanding these complexities.
We are.
And we are developing more effective treatments.
Yes.
So there's hope on the horizon.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's not just one thing. It's this whole complex web of interconnected factors. That's a lot to untangle. But the good news is that we are making progress in understanding these complexities, right?
Right.
And we are developing more effective treatments.
Yes.
So there's hope on the horizon.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about how complex MDD is and all the things that can contribute to it. But now let's shift gears and talk about treatment. What can people actually do to feel better?
Well, the good news is there's a lot we can do. And it's becoming more and more clear that treatment needs to be personalized. There's no one-size-fits-all approach because everyone's experience with MDD is unique.
Okay, so no magic bullet, but we're getting better at tailoring treatments. What are some of the main approaches that are out there?
The source material highlights 3 main categories: psychotherapy, medication, and lifestyle changes. And often these approaches work best in combination with each other.
Okay, let's break those down one by one. So first up, psychotherapy. Is that like what you see in the movies where you lie on a couch and talk about your childhood?
Well, there might be a couch involved, but it's not quite that simple. Psychotherapy or talk therapy is really about exploring your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors with a trained professional. It's a safe space to process what you're going through and develop healthier coping mechanisms.
So it's not just venting, it's actually learning tools to manage the MDD.
Exactly. And there are different types of therapy. One that's commonly used for MDD is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. Yeah. CBT helps you identify and challenge negative thought patterns that can contribute to depression.
So like if you're constantly telling yourself, I'm a failure, or nothing ever goes right for me, CBT would help you kind of reframe those thoughts.
Exactly. It's about recognizing those unhelpful thought patterns and replacing them with more balanced and realistic ones.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about medication? Are we talking about antidepressants?
Yeah, antidepressants are often a part of treatment for MDD. They work by targeting those neurotransmitters we were talking about earlier, like serotonin and dopamine. Basically, they help to rebalance those brain chemicals, which can have a positive effect on mood, sleep, energy levels, all the things that get thrown off by depression.
So it's not that antidepressants create happiness, but they help to create a more level playing field for your brain chemistry.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that antidepressants aren't a quick fix. They usually take a few weeks to start working. And finding the right medication and the right dosage can take some trial and error.
So it's not like popping a pill and you're instantly cured.
No, it's a process. And it requires close collaboration with a doctor.
Okay, so therapy and medication are 2 big pieces of the puzzle. What about lifestyle changes? Are we talking like eating more kale and doing yoga?
Well, those things can definitely be helpful, but there's a lot more to it than that. Exercise, for example, is incredibly powerful for mood.
Oh yeah, I always feel so much better after a good workout.
Right. Exercise releases endorphins, which are those feel-good chemicals in your brain.
It's like a natural high.
It is. And it doesn't have to be super intense exercise either. Even a brisk walk or some gentle stretching can make a difference.
So moving your body, moving those mood-boosting chemicals. Got it. What about sleep? I know I'm a total mess when I don't get enough sleep.
Sleep is crucial. When you're depressed, getting quality sleep can be really tough. But it's so important for recovery.
So what can people do to improve their sleep?
Well, there are a lot of things you can try, like establishing a regular sleep schedule, creating a relaxing bedtime routine, avoiding caffeine and screens before bed.
So good sleep hygiene is basically good mental hygiene.
Pretty much.
What about social connections? Do those play a role in treating MDD?
Absolutely. Feeling isolated and alone can make depression so much worse. So reaching out to friends and family, even when it feels hard, can provide that sense of connection and support that's so important.
It's a reminder that you're not alone in this.
Right.
Okay, so we've got exercise, sleep, social connections. Any other lifestyle factors that can help?
The source material also talks about diet. Eating a healthy diet with plenty of fruits, vegetables, and omega-3 fatty acids can be beneficial.
Omega-3s.
Yeah. They're really important for brain health, and some studies have shown that they can help to improve mood.
Interesting.
You can find omega-3s in fatty fish like salmon, or you can take fish oil supplements.
So brain food for a better mood. I like that. Okay, so we've got therapy, medication, lifestyle changes, all working together to tackle MDD from different angles. But I'm curious about something. What about natural supplements? Do those have a place in treatment?
That's a great question. And it's something that's actually addressed in the source material. There's a company mentioned called Cenario, which specializes in science-backed mental health supplements.
Cenario.
Yeah.
So these are supplements that are specifically designed to support mental well-being.
Exactly. And they really emphasize using high-quality research-backed ingredients.
But I'm guessing they're not meant to replace traditional treatment options like therapy or medication.
Right. The source material is very clear about that. Supplements should be seen as a complementary approach, not a replacement for professional care if that's what's needed.
Okay, so it's about adding another layer of support, not ditching your doctor and relying solely on supplements.
Exactly.
It's like adding more tools to your mental wellness toolkit. I like that analogy. So what kinds of supplements are we talking about here?
The source material doesn't go into detail about Cenario's specific products, but it does mention a few natural options that have been studied for their potential mood-boosting effects, like omega-3s, which we already talked about, and St. John's wort, which is a herb that's been traditionally used for mild to moderate depression.
St. John's wort. I've heard of that, but I didn't know it was potentially helpful for depression.
It is. And there's also CMA, which is involved in neurotransmitter production, and 5-HTP, which is a precursor to serotonin, and even vitamin D.
Vitamin D. What does that have to do with mood?
I know, right? It's interesting. Research has shown a link between vitamin D deficiency and depression, especially during the winter months when we're not getting as much sunlight.
Soaking up those rays isn't just for a tan. It's actually good for your mental health, too.
Exactly.
Wow, this is all so fascinating. So many different angles to consider when it comes to MDD. But before we get too deep down the supplement rabbit hole, I want to shift gears a bit. What about the people who are supporting loved ones with MDD? What can they do to help?
That's a really important question. Supporting someone with depression can be challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. The source material really emphasizes the power of active listening, validating their emotions, and encouraging them to seek professional help if they need it.
So it's more about being there for them than trying to fix them.
Exactly. One of the key pieces of advice from the source is to avoid minimizing their struggles or offering unsolicited advice like, just think positive or snap out of it.
Yeah, I could see how those kinds of comments, even if they're well-intentioned, could actually make someone feel worse.
They can. It's important to validate their feelings and let them know that you're there for them no matter what.
That sounds way more supportive. What about practical help? Are there things you can do to kind of lighten the load for someone who's struggling?
Absolutely. Offering to help with everyday tasks, things that might feel overwhelming to someone with depression, like grocery shopping, cooking, or even just keeping them company. Those things can make a big difference.
So those small acts of kindness can really go a long way.
Wait.
What about just checking in with them regularly?
That's important too. Just a simple text or phone call to let them know you're thinking of them and that they're not alone. And it's important to respect their boundaries. Sometimes they might want to talk, and other times they might need some space. And both are okay.
So being a good listener, offering practical support and respecting boundaries sounds like a solid recipe for being a good friend or family member to someone with MDD.
It is. And remember, if you're the one who's struggling, seeking professional help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Absolutely. And
Ouch.
early intervention is key, right? The sooner you reach out for help, the better the outcomes tend to be.
Yes.
So we've talked about a lot of different treatment options.
Yeah.
But I'm still curious about those scenario supplements. Should people be checking those out?
If you're interested in exploring natural supplements as a way to support your mental well-being, then Cenario's website might be a good place to start your research.
But as always, talk to your doctor before starting any new supplements,
Yeah,
especially if you're already taking medications.
absolutely. Safety first.
Okay, so lots to think about and lots of potential avenues for healing and recovery.
There are.
This deep dive has been incredibly informative, and I hope our listeners are feeling more empowered to navigate the world of mental health.
Me too.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of our deep dive into major depressive disorder, but we'll be back soon with more insights and explorations into the fascinating world of the human mind. Until then, take care of yourselves. And we're back, wrapping things up with our deep dive on major depressive disorder.
It's been a really fascinating journey, hasn't it?
Mhm.
Exploring all the different aspects of MDD.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we covered so much ground, from the biology and the brain chemistry to the social and environmental factors that can play a role.
Right.
And I think one of the things that really stood out to me was how common MDD actually is.
Yeah, absolutely. That statistic that 1 in 6 people will experience it at some point in their lives, that's huge. It really underscores the importance of understanding and addressing this condition.
Definitely. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's something that needs to be talked about openly and honestly.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some of the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
Well, first and foremost, I want to emphasize that MDD is a real medical condition. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not something you can just snap out of. It's a complex interplay of factors that impacts millions of people around the world.
And thankfully, it's treatable.
Yes, absolutely.
We've talked about a whole range of treatment options, from therapy and medication to lifestyle changes.
And even those natural supplements, which can be a helpful addition for some people.
Right. And I think the key is finding what works best for each individual.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. It's about working closely with healthcare professionals to develop a personalized treatment plan that meets your specific needs.
Absolutely. So if you're listening to this and you're struggling with MDD, or you know someone who is, please remember that you're not alone.
Yes, there's help available.
And there's hope. Reaching out for help is the first step.
And it's a sign of strength, not weakness.
Exactly. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too.
And I hope our listeners have too.
So if you're interested in learning more about natural supplements that may support mental well-being, be sure to check out Cenario's website. We'll include a link in the show notes.
And remember, always talk to your doctor before starting any new supplements, especially if you're already taking medications.
Safety first. Always. Thanks for joining us on this journey.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, take care of yourself and be well.
Thanks for tuning in to the Cenario podcast. Don't forget to visit Cenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.